We are in Billericay in Essex, and one of the UK's top soul artists were convinced to go into a studio when he was 18 years old. From then on, he's been working with Sade, Elton John, Incognito, Real People and many, many more. We're going to introduce you to the one and only Tony Momrelle. Right, okay, welcome to the very swanky Bar Zero. It's taken a couple of months of planning, but eventually we've got there. Of course, we had the fella on my radio show. We interviewed the one and only Tony Momrelle, who's got a deluxe version of Keep Pushing coming out in October, the album out there. Really looking forward to it. Tony Momrelle, welcome to the very swanky Bar Zero.
Cheers, thanks for having me, man.
Now, of course, we're in Essex in Billericay. Hopefully, last night, rather than in the studio working, you was trying to practice some of your Essex twang. Is that correct?
Yes, mate.
So I went on your website last night. I was looking through and tapping through, and I noticed that your success and your whole from day one in the studio at the age of 18 through to now has been quite fast paced. Or has it really been that way for Tony Momrelle?
Yeah, it has been the journey has been, like, you know, consistent. It's been continual. But sometimes when I slow down, I think about it. There's a lot of stuff that I've done in that period of time. But yeah, I kind of catapulted into that from a young age, and that was starting for me doing, you know, getting into singing, vocal arranging, and then getting into the studio doing, you know, vocal production, and then backing vocals for certain people on tours and stuff like that. And it just kind of was a natural progression, but it kind of like all just, you know.
So let's go back to the early days of Tony Momrelle, when you was pretty much forced into a studio where Gloria Estefan was standing there waiting for you to come in at the age of 18. Tell me how you evolved from there.
Well, you know, when that happened, I think it was like, that was a point in my life where I knew that, right, this is something that I want to do.
Yeah.
Because at the time I didn't, and you know, I had a job at the time, and a friend of mine who contacted me about doing the session. Yeah. And I didn't know about the session. You know, I didn't know who it was that I was working for. I just knew that it was going to happen, and he made the session around me basically because I was working. So having that experience working with her, and then springing on to me doing a lot of promotional stuff, TV shows and stuff to promote that particular single. Was great, and I felt like, wow, this is really, I quite like this.
How would you explain yourself? Because you're a crossover from jazz, soul, soulful house. There's a lot of different genres. So how would Tony Momrelle explain himself to anyone that didn't know you at all?
I'm a schizophrenic. No. I've got different hats, man. I've got different flavours to who I am. When I started out doing music, you know, doing backing vocals and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Coming from London, and you know, it was a smaller demographic of soul at that time, and urban music. So as a session singer and an artist, I had to wear different hats depending on who I was working with to learn about all the different styles of music. So that was kind of how it was, and that's now thrown back out into my artistry. So you know, while doing stuff with Incognito, it allowed me freedom to do a big band record. It allowed me to do some soulful house stuff. My voice lends itself to different styles.
If you're going to find out more about Tony Momrelle, check him out, this man here, at the Lugano Festival of Jazz singing Pick Me Up. Check this out.
But it's alright, 'cause I'm gonna get it soon. I may
welcome back to Bar Zero in Billericay in good old Essex. We've got the one and only Tony Momrelle sitting to the right-hand side of me, who's hailed as the Stevie Wonder of the UK. Now, a lot of people say that, don't they? And a lot of people...
no pressure.
No pressure whatsoever. Have you embraced that as a compliment, or do you get a little bit embarrassed and think, oh, where do I go with that one?
Yeah, you get... I remember years ago, that's where it came out. It was in the press. Someone wrote that up on me, a big article on me, and yeah, I was nervous, and I read it. I was like, "Oh, you're kidding me! What? Why put me up to say that?"
Yeah.
However, he's one of my major influences. Him, Donny Hathaway, and a couple of others, and you will hear that sound within my music.
Yeah.
And I've more dealt with it because Stevie Wonder called me up one time. To tell me that he was a fan of my voice, so that was kind of like the seal of approval to say, "Hey, listen, it's all right then." And I've seen him a few times after that, so it's given me the feeling of like, well,
So you feel more confident now?
Yeah, and because you hear that, it's like Stevie's done so much, not just from music, but from his humanitarianism. There's a lot of stuff he's done, and there's some things that for me is like, wow, if anyone mentions that, for me it means a lot more than just like you sound. It's so much more. And so it's always
probably the ultimate compliment, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a great compliment. It's never easy to take.
You've worked with a lot of artists over time, of course, of Incognito, Elton John, Sade, people like that, and obviously one of the biggest drivers behind your career, and even now, even today, is of course Bluey and Incognito.
Yeah.
Sort of, how did that collaboration come about? How did you get involved with Incognito? Because it's been around forever. So how
37 years this year.
Tony then suddenly become involved with Incognito?
Okay, so going back to the year 2000, a friend of mine who was in the band at the time called me up and said that Blue was looking to do a new record and wanted some extra vocals as well as some ideas, vocal ideas and stuff, something to just enhance it a little bit. So I jumped it. I was like, wow, okay, this would be cool. I knew the music, but I just thought, wow, this is going to be different for me. And it's quite complex. So as a singer, I was like, wow, this will really be interesting. Met up with Bluey and the guys in the studio and started recording a couple of the songs on the album, Life Stranger Than Fiction. And cutting long story short, he heard my voice and came out of the control room and stopped the recording and went, yes, this is the voice
I've
been looking for. So I didn't realise what was going on. I was just joking about, laughing about it. Thanks very much for compliments and stuff like that. Carried on with the session. He went back into the control room on the phone, called up his management and said, listen, I've got this guy, but I actually want him in the band. I don't want him just on the session now. I want him in the band. And they told him, look, great, no problem, but we can't do it right now. You're about to go on to a US tour, and there's not going to be enough time to organise visas and all that kind of stuff for him. But after you've done this leg of the tour, we can get that sorted out. So that's what happened. And he, said, look, I want you in the band, but you're going to have to wait a few months if that's all right. But please be available. I was like, definitely. Then that's the connection between Incognito as well as my connection with Sade, because what happened was that Incognito went into the rehearsal rooms, and in the next studio was Sade.
Yeah.
And she was auditioning for a new member of her band. And Bluey and some of the guys knew Sade and then vice versa, known each other over the years, bumped into each other. And he said, what are you up to? She said, I'm just about to go on the road, go on tour, but I'm looking for a new member of the band. And she had a list, and he said, can I have a look at this list? And he looked at all the names that were on it. It was an extensive list. Got to the end and went, okay, look, the guy that you want, his name is not on the list. Now, it wouldn't be that you know about him and he wouldn't know about this, but I want him for my band. I've just done some work with him and he is the guy. And here's his number. His name's Tony Momrelle. I was tangled in chains, locked up in the corner with no escape. I was broken and bruised, holding to the past as I was blue. Oh, but there you were, standing in to save the day. Oh yeah, and you touched my hand right there and then. Everything, baby, everything changed. You're all I need to bring all my dreams to reality. Baby, you're the one I need.
right, of course, that was the video All I Need from the one and only Tony Momrelle. Of course, he's at Bar Zero at the moment, Billericay in Essex.
I am.
OMG, Well Gel, and what's the other one? Sick.
OMG,
Well Gel. That's the terminology.
Sick, Well Gel, OMG. I got it.
Is there any connections with Tony Momrelle and Essex?
Well, I've got family that live in Essex, all around. Some family in Basildon and Harlow and Bishop Stortford and those areas there.
Okay,
yeah.
right. Let's talk about Tony Momrelle in 2016. How do you think, right at this point in time, your career is going?
You know what, mate? It's building. It's building, and I'm the type of person that I keep my feet on the ground. I don't really get overexcited about stuff, and I'm just part of this journey. So far, it's been really great.
There's one song on the album Keep Pushing that's available out there now on iTunes and Amazon. You've got the deluxe version coming up, of course, mid-October.
Yeah.
There was one song that I used to play the original and think, wow, this is fantastic. And then suddenly Tony Momrelle and Sade come along and sung Back Together Again, of course, from the Donny Hathaway and Roberta Flack.
Yeah.
That was quite a brave move to make, because the original is such a big song. What was the feedback from the public with regards to that song?
Mental. A lot of people went crazy about it, and still people talk about it now. And you know, when you have it in the same breath of, you've really complimented the original song and you've given it that thing, but you've still kept it, you know, current, but still retained its original sound.
Yeah.
It's cool. Look, you know, I've done a couple of covers before. You know, we did a version of Golden Lady, for instance.
Yeah.
But I always want to make sure that whatever I do, I want to make sure that it respects the original version.
Yeah.
And that what I sing complements it too. And so, listen, Back Together Again wasn't really going to go on this record. We decided that it was going to go on a compilation. That's what it was for. Because I was like, look, I'm not putting on an album. That's just too much of a thing to do, just in case people go, well, hang on a minute, I don't really like it. So I was just like, just nervous. So, you know, the rest of the team, when they heard it recorded, and we got Sade to do her parts in the States, and it got mixed back, and the brass and everything was on it, and the band were on it, you know, everyone was like, dude, that's got to go on your record, mate. You've got to put it on your record.
Why have you sort of got the Keep Pushing album, then you got the deluxe version? What made you sort of decide to release that in mid-October?
Well, what the primary reason is that, you know, me and my label partner Ollie Lazarus, we decided that, you know, when we did the record at Keep Pushing, we did it and we were going to go, look, I know a lot of people know me, but let's go back to grassroots. We're going to build this from the ground up, the whole campaign, everything else and that, and build things up. And then towards the second album now, we're going to get more momentum and then look at the bigger platforms. Yeah. But what happened is all of those bigger platforms came on album one. So, you know, other radio support and other, you know, media entities got involved that we weren't really expecting at that time. So it catapulted me a little faster to what was going on. And we only focused on the UK campaign because we're from here, and it was like, even though I've got a lot of European territories around the world that I go to, it was like, let's start with this. But then the demand from other territories, especially when I was doing a lot of shows, people were asking about the record, and then it was like, look, you know what, we really need to look at this now, what we're doing. So we really restructured our company again and got some help and built up a bigger team and decided to then re-release the record in Europe. And in order to do that, I wanted to have some extra songs so that it would give it another feel for that European market, as well as for those people that have currently checked the record out before.
That's a great move as well.
So yeah.
You've got you're going to be sort of basically working around sort of London and local areas with a UK sort of event coming up. Is that to promote the album, or is that just what's that all about, to get the album out there, to keep pushing?
Yeah, it's pardon the pun, keep pushing, but it's a thing of like, I wanted to, look, I've not done a UK show.
Yep.
All of the shows I've done have always been outside of the UK. Yep. And it just got to the point where it was inevitable that we were going to do it, and originally we were looking at building up towards a UK tour, and it just, unfortunately, what happened was most of the dates that we had was all around the London area and the South East, And when it came to trying to build up stuff towards the north, it was hard because a lot of the venues have already taken up their dates for the year. So we just put on these shows because of the demand. Fans were asking all the time, when are you going to perform?
So that's going to kick off on the 2nd of November. Where does it start?
It starts 2nd November in London, playing at a venue called the Rah Rah Rooms in Piccadilly.
Yeah.
And then from there I play, I believe, Shoreham on the 4th. And then on the 18th of November I'm in at the Canvas in Bournemouth.
Yeah.
And then from there I go straight to Italy and play Milan and Bologna and a couple of other cities, and then go straight to Paris and then Amsterdam.
So it's non-stop for Tony Momrelle.
Yeah, it's kind of like rolling out, and then I'm definitely going to be doing a full UK tour next year, early next year, and then just continue with the rollout of promotional dates.
Of course, we're talking about the deluxe album Keep Pushing coming out in mid-October. What other projects have you got going on at the moment, and what have we got to look forward to for 2017?
More of the same, really. 2017 is a year that it's going to be a lot of live stuff. I'm also working on another record, whenever that will be ready. Hopefully sometime next year.
And is there a title for that one?
Not as yet.
No
just started.
yet.
Literally just started like last week in the studio. Just drafting a lot of ideas where I'm thinking about from this next stuff. But for 2017, it's purely about a lot more touring for the Keep Pushing record.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be going back and forth to Europe as well as some festival stuff in Asia. So a lot of stuff going on. A lot more momentum. A lot of projects.
How can you work any harder than what you are at the moment?
You know, things like yourself. You when you do something that you love, it doesn't really feel like work, because your mind is always ticking about being creative on the next thing. How am I going to get the next show, or how are you going to do this? You know, and that's the same thing for me. So I'm always thinking, right, there's still more to do, and as long as I get my allotted amount of sleep, my mind's like, right, what's the next thing?
I can't keep up with the fella. I can't keep up with him whatsoever. So right, of course you've got the record out there coming out in mid-October, the deluxe version.
Yeah.
You're you're going to be promoting it throughout London and then up to Bournemouth and places as you explained. What is the best way? Anyone that's sort of been hiding, what is the best way they can find out more about Tony Momrelle?
The best way of doing it is go to Crime Watch. No, sorry.
We've been on there already.
Yeah. If you go to my website, tonymomrelle.com, you'll be able to connect with me directly, and you'll get exclusive content that you won't get on other social platforms. At the same time, if that's not your choice, you want to get me by Facebook, I'm on that. Twitter, Instagram, all of the social media platforms, you can reach me. And the good thing about that is that I always reply and contact, get back in touch to whoever contacts me. So all of the information is there, and what I'm up to, what releases I've got coming out, and when's the next shows that I'm planning.
Okay, Tony, I'm going to wish you all the success.
Thank you so much.
very much. It's been absolutely brilliant.
Thank you.
So thank you. Don't forget iTunes, Amazon, keep pushing, because Tony will be in the spotlight soon. Did you like that?
I did like that. It's a little pun there, eh?